Good evening and welcome to the Maple Plains City Council meeting. It is December 15th at 7 p.m. and I'm calling the meeting to order. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance if you are able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I am looking for a motion to adopt this evening's agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Burek,
Second.
second by DeLuca. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. First item on the agenda this evening is visitors to be heard, otherwise known as public comment. And before we begin that, I would like to read our statement of expected behavior. Public comment is a courtesy extended to persons wishing to address the City Council who would like to comment on something that is not part of a public hearing. The public is invited to express any concerns they may have which are relevant to the affairs, policies, or practice of the City of Maple Plain. Speakers may approach the podium one at a time to make remarks that shall be limited to 3 minutes. Should you wish to participate in public comment, please state your name and address before addressing the council. All remarks will be made from the podium and should be made to the council as a whole. Personal attacks are prohibited, as are obscene, profane, and threatening language. Public comment is not a time for council discussion or a response, but for hearing the speaker's concerns only. Questions to the council will be for clarification only. If necessary, a staff report on public comment subjects will be prepared for the next city council business meeting. Before us this evening, I have 2 public comment forms. If there are others, please fill out the form in the back and get those to Administrator Shalander. Recently married. With that, our first public comment is Nicole. I'd like to invite you forward. Please state your name and address, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
Thanks, Julie.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Nicole McDade. I'm at 1472 Meadow Lane, and I'm here to speak tonight regarding Ordinance 348, amended rental ordinance. If you are in the audience and here to also support that ordinance, if you could please raise your hand now. We as a community were very upset by what transpired the evening. That night I was having dinner with my family. But I wanted to take a minute to thank Jacob and Kevin for being rapid in the response to help us change the language in Maple Plains rules and regulations to better support our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McDowd, for being here this evening. Next person for public comment is Mr. Justin McCoy.
Thank you. For the record, Justin McCoy. I'm an Independence resident, neighboring town, 5700 Robert Road, but here as Maple Plain Fire Relief Association president. Madam Mayor, members of the council, I stand before you today in supporting the passage of Resolution 2025-1215-04. On November 5th, 2025, our membership voiced concerns and asked fire relief leadership to look into and find potential solutions to the proposed PERA fund distributions. This resolution is in line with this request and is the first step in working together towards a possible solution. A Fire Relief Department Association is currently made up of 20 active firefighters and 4 deferred members. Of the 20 active firefighters, 15 are under the age of 50, and of the 4 deferred members, 3 are under the age of 50. Today, either myself or one of my fellow firefighters have spoken to 18 of the 20 active firefighters and 3 of the 4 deferred members, all of whom supports passage of this resolution tonight. Our Relief Association will be meeting this Wednesday to discuss next steps and review the plan laid out with the Executive Director of Legislative Commissions on Pensions and Retirement. We look forward to working with the city, our members, and state officials to address the concerns we have surrounding the PERA distribution of funds. I'd like to publicly thank Jacob Shalander on your assistance in being the liaison with PERA, the Chief Dennison for his time and involvement on calls of state agencies and partners, Councilmember Francis and DeLuca for your many years of serving the MPFD Relief Association as being council reps. Councilmember Barak and Arvizo for your support on this resolution at the last workshop last Monday. And Mayor Julie Moskowski for your time and support on different phone calls with state officials, agencies as we work together to address the fire membership's concerns. And lastly, I'd like to thank the firefighters sitting behind me for their patience as we work together to find a common solution to ensure all their concerns are addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy.
Hi, my name is Eric Schultz. I live at 5915 Three Oaks Avenue. I'm here in response to the amended change to the rental ordinance. I just wanted to thank the city council greatly. We've had a lot of issues with this family. The school has been a dead end. The bus company has their hands tied. This actually gives us hope that we can see some kind of change. I mean, we don't have any hard feelings towards anybody in this, but we can't continue to go down this road and wonder what this is going to escalate into next. So I just wanted to tell you I'm very thankful on behalf of our entire neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Are there any other public comment this evening? Okay, hearing none, we will close public comment and move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda this evening includes November 24th, City Council Workshop Meeting Minutes, November 24th, City Council Business Meeting Minutes, December 1st, City Council Truth and Taxation Public Hearing Meeting Minutes, December 8th, City Council Workshop Meeting Minutes, December 8th, City Council Special Business Meeting Minutes, and Employee Handbook Update. I will be pulling item December 8th, letter D. Anyone else have anything to pull? Administrator Schillinger?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members of the council, just one thing I want to point out, the approval of the employee handbook, that would take January 1st, 2026.
Thank you for that clarification. All right, so looking for a motion to approve items A, B, C, E, and F on the consent agenda this evening.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Councilmember Arvizo,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Burak. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the consent agenda minus item D, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, the ayes have it, 4-0. I pulled letter D, and that was the City Council Workshop Meeting Minutes. I did talk with Assistant Administrator Larson about that, and I will turn it over to him with a suggestion for the corrections.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So for the December 8th City Council Workshop Meeting Minutes, discussion topic C, amending the food truck ordinance. Under the council discussion, I offer a change to the verbiage where the council reviewed the proposed changes and discussed inspections as well as registration clarity for operators. WIPS does not need to be a part of those inspections for the food trucks. So I just wanted to offer that as a clarification.
All right, thank you for that clarification and correction, Assistant Administrator Larson. Any questions regarding that update to the minutes? All in favor of approving the December 8th City Council Workshop Meeting Minutes with the amended change that was just spoken, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 4-0. Next item before us this evening is accounts payable, and I will turn that over to our administrator.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members of the council, before you today are city bills totaling $224,503.89, or ACH bills of $11,200.72, and the 2024 street project bills of $936.
Any questions for staff regarding accounts payable this evening? Hearing none, looking for a motion to approve city bills, city ACH, and the street project.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilmember Avizo,
I'll second that motion.
second by Councilmember Burek. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 4-0. Next item of business before us this evening is our staff reports. All staff reports have been submitted in writing except Public Works. So I am looking for a motion to receive the staff reports that have been submitted.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilmember Burek,
Second.
second by Councilmember DeLuca. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 4-0. We have no old business this evening to come before us, so we'll move on to new business. We will begin with item A, the fire service contract and lease agreement found on page 133 in the packet tonight, and I will turn that over to staff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Before us tonight is the fire service contract and lease agreement with West Suburban Fire District. Months of negotiations and meetings, going, talking about how we can make this work. And we've finally come to an agreement that works for all parties. In my summary, I have listed the fire station lease agreement first. Just a couple things to touch on that. The West Suburban Fire District will lease the Maple Plain Fire Department building for $1 per year. The agreement talks about the responsibilities such as who handles utilities, generator upkeep, interior upkeep, and exhaust system. The city will reimburse West Suburban Fire District up to $76,972 towards the vehicle ventilation system. It talks about the insurance coverages that West Suburban Fire District will have. And then our lease agreement is also linked with our fire service agreement. So if one is canceled, the other is canceled. And then moving into the fire service agreement, this agreement is with West Suburban Fire District, the City of Maple Plain, and the City of Independence. West Suburban Fire District will provide all fire services to the City of Maple Plain. The Maple Plain firefighters will transition over to West Suburban Fire District as long as they meet all criteria. That would be beginning January 1st of next year. And then all firefighters would be subject to a 1-year probationary period according to West Suburban Fire District's employee handbook. As far as the annual para contributions for the first 5 years, the City of Maple Plain and Independence will pay $3,626.27 per firefighter to bring up their para benefit level to be equal with West Suburban Fire District. After that 5-year time frame, that would no longer be the case. And if any firefighters don't go or end up leaving, that number, again, is just based on the number of firefighters that they retain. Cost of service is a formula of 50% market value plus 50% service usage over a 3-year trailing average. We went into the formula that West Suburban Fire District uses for all of their other contract cities, with the caveat that we will pay, and by we I mean Maple Plain and Independence, will pay the difference. So the first year, us going into the formula, is a difference of $25,156.26. So for the first 2 years, we will pay 100% of that difference, and then 75%, 50%, and 25%. And then after the initial 5-year term, then we will be in the formula just like everybody else. We are covering a one-time cost of equipment of $37,000 split between Maple Plain and Independence. This is logos, uniforms, that kind of stuff. And then we are also going to put money aside for a new engine that's capped at $1.5 million. West Suburban Fire District would pay 50%, Maple Plain 25%, and Independence 25%. That we are doing a limited warranty on the transferred equipment. This would be through December 31st, 2027. It applies to any of the vehicles that we transfer over to West Suburban Fire District. Covers repairs exceeding $25,000, excluding insurance covered or accident related repairs. There would be cost sharing on that. West Suburban Fire District would pay 50%, and the cities collectively 50%. So Maple Plain would cover 25, Independence would cover 25%. West Suburban Fire District will invoice the cities monthly. That was per our request. I guess I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions for staff? I just want to say you make that sound so simple and like it all just happened overnight. But it has been literally years in the making, and especially this last year, very intense. But we will celebrate and talk about that more tomorrow. But I just want to acknowledge all the work and all the people and the collaboration between the two cities and West Suburban and Maple Plain has been exceptional. And if our whole world could learn to get along and adult better, I think we've set a really good example. So I just want to thank everyone publicly for the work and look forward to celebrating that tomorrow with everyone. With that, I am looking for a motion to approve the fire service contract and lease agreement.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Burek,
And I'll second it.
second by DeLuca. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 4-0. Next item of business is the revision of the August 25th, 2025 business meeting minutes, and I will turn that back over to our administrator.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. The reason for this revision is to meet the gambling board's requested standards. The St. Bonifacius Minnetrista Area Lions Club is doing business as, and that is what they put on their application. That's what we had in the packet from August. However, the gambling board needs it to reflect specifically what's on their tax ID, so that's what this is doing. It's amending those minutes so that they can get that approved.
Looking for a motion to approve the revision of the August 25th, 25 business meeting minutes.
So moved.
Moved by DeLuca,
Second.
second by Burek. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 4-0. Next item of business to come before us this evening is Resolution 25-1215-01, approval of the 26 final levy and budget. I'll turn that back over to staff again.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. We held our Truth and Taxation meeting on December 1st, where we kind of talked about the details of the budget, so I will spare everyone the details. The total levy for 2026 will be $1,997,220. General fund budget is $1,582,091, and our debt service payments are $415,129. 51% of our budget is made up of public safety, and that is where we've seen the greatest increases on the 2026 budget. So I am looking for council to approve both the final levy and the 2026 budget.
All right. Again, looking for a motion to approve Resolution 25-1215-01, approval of the 26 final levy and budget.
So moved.
Moved by DeLuca,
Second.
second by Burek. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 4-0. Next item of business to come before us this evening is Resolution 2025-1215-02, donations received for 2025. And I will turn that back over to staff again.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members of the council, this resolution is a requirement by state statute that we receive and accept donations made in the year. Those donations totaled $29,025. The specifics are listed in the packet there for you. Looking for approval of that resolution.
Before I ask for a motion to approve this resolution, I'd like to look at page 373, Exhibit A, the last item noted, and I would like to remove West Hennepin Public Safety, as we do not receive their donations. They are a separate entity, so that should not be in there.
We will make that change.
Okay, thank you. With that change, I am looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2025-1215-02, donations received for the 2025 calendar year.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Arvizo,
Second.
second by Burek. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 4-0. Next item of business to come before us this evening is Resolution 2025-1215-03, the annual designation for 2026 Maple Plain Organization. We'll turn that back over to staff again.
Thank you again, Madam Mayor, members of the council. We do this every year, like clockwork. I'm going to go ahead and just explain the ending part, but I'm going to go through and talk about the official depository. For 2026 will be Mid-Country Bank and approving the use of the 4M fund. Our official newspaper will be the Laker. We've provided the meeting schedule as an exhibit. The acting mayor would be Councilmember Mike DeLuca. And then we have a list of our annual appointments and committees. Our city attorney is Scott Landsman of Hoffberry Associates. Our city engineer is David Martini of Bolton and Mink. Our city auditor, Clifton Larson Allen. And then attached is all the meeting dates for 2026. The highlighted dates signify that they are on a different date other than the normal second or fourth Monday. Looking for council to approve that as well as the commissions.
All right. Looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2025-1215-03, the annual designation for the 2026 Maple Plain Organization.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Arvizo,
Second.
second by DeLuca. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 4-0. Next item of business to come before us is Resolution 2025-1215-04, repealing Resolution 2025-0922-01, and directing the executive director to withhold payouts, and I will turn that back over to staff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. In September of this year, well, let me back up. January 1st of this year, the fire department, Fire Relief Association asked the city to put their funds in with Para's SVF account, which we did. September 22nd, we did a resolution that terminated that plan. Doing this as part of this fire consolidation. When I got the benefit payout numbers, it was quite a shock to myself and majority of the fire department members. There's a 6% reduction for each year they are under 50. And then the surplus that is in the fund then gets distributed out. Based on that fact as well. So those that are over 50 gain more money, and then those that are under 50 gain less money. What I'm asking, so we've had multiple conversations with Para, with Susan with the state legislative pension and benefits, and I am seeking for council to repeal that resolution so we can ask for special legislation. That special legislation would still calculate the retirement based on actuarial mathematics that I don't understand. And then the surplus would then be divvied out based off of years of service and benefit level. And then any excess surplus after that would be divided out equally amongst all of the firefighters. With the majority of our fire department members being under the age of 50, I think it behooves us to try and make everyone whole in a fair way. And I think that by stopping the payout now and seeking special legislation, it's our effort in doing that. So I am seeking council's approval of the resolution to repeal our previous resolution. I will stand for any questions.
Any questions? All right. With that, I am looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2025-1215-04, repealing Resolution 2025-0922-01, and directing the executive director to withhold payouts. Any discussion or comments? I would just like to add that we would not do this until after the meeting on Wednesday. Just so you're not, just to make sure. I appreciate the poll that was taken, but there is a fire relief meeting on Wednesday, so I think just to make sure everyone has a chance, if there's more people that want to speak, that they have that opportunity.
Yeah, we'd like to know that the majority of the membership is all in favor of this.
Right, and I appreciated Relief President McCoy sharing that tonight, but I think there's value in, at the official meeting, that we hear that as well. Any other discussion, questions? All right, looking for a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Councilmember Avizo,
I'll second that motion.
second by Councilmember Burek. Any further discussion or questions?
I do,
Councilmember
Mayor.
DeLuca?
I've been on council 14 years. If we do this, this is probably the biggest mistake that this council could make. Let me explain. As it stands right now, the fire relief has an excess in the pool. We're funded at about 116% of the liability. That's about $225,000 extra dollars that are going to be divvied out amongst the firefighters who have earned that money. If we are to hold at this point and tell the director to hold that, we run some risks. First of all, there will be additional expenses that will be incurred. That will take money from every firefighter. Secondly, we're subject to the market. We have been blessed the last 2 years with some of the most outstanding markets that have added to the surplus that is sitting in that fund right now, that's going to be distributed. A market adjustment that would happen while we're waiting would be dollars that would come directly out of each and every one of your pockets. And a market correction is not unthinkable in a off-election year. If you look back on history, they often are corrected. That's a liability to you. That's taking money directly from you. Third, if, and I say that very cautiously, if the state legislature were to change, they're not even proposing a change that would affect the actuarial calculations. You each will have a 6% reduction. That's going to stay. The executive director has made it quite known. He will publicly lobby, testify to that. Generally, those carry a lot of weight. Even if there was a change at that point, the change in how the excess would be allocated back would depend on what is the excess at that moment in time. And assume for a moment that excess would be lower than what it is at this moment in time, at its high point. Each of you will receive less money than you would have in today's world. I don't want to take that risk. I think it's irresponsible on our part to do that. I think it's taking something from each of you that I'm not willing to do. There's an additional liability to the organization or to the city at this point. 10 minutes ago, we just approved a contract to not be in the fire business anymore. You will not be employees anymore of this organization. We thank you for your service. And now here I am about to do something that could potentially take money away from you. Not willing to do that. The final liability that we have is that under state statute,
if the markets were to correct enough while we were waiting, not only would that 225,000 extra dollars potentially not be there to distribute to you, the city could also be in a position that would have a potential liability of have to add even more city dollars to make sure that you each got the payoff you were entitled to. As I sit in this chair for the 14 years, I'm looking at the responsibility that I have in this chair. And right now, changing this is not the answer. I'd ask each of my council members to think hard about that when you make your vote in a few minutes. We are here to do what's in the best interest of the city, and right now, we have a nice surplus to hand out in additional monies to you. We may not if we make that call differently.
Other comments, questions, or discussion points? Councilmember Burek.
I hear exactly what you're saying, Mr. DeLuca. It's looking at how these firefighters are treated at the last moment that they're here. It's trying to make sure that they get the fair deal. Because putting time in and losing just because of your age, because of a decision that we've made up here. So.
Thank you, Councilmember Burek. Any other discussion? I'm going to respectfully disagree with you, Councilmember DeLuca, and I would like to communicate why. I think while the executive director does have the final say, there's an opportunity to make everyone whole with the surplus. And everyone who has paid on call, volunteered to give time, has been told that they will earn $4,300 for year of service. I think that is our responsibility to keep our word and to honor that. I also think that the firefighters have spoken at the last relief meeting I was at. The consensus there was if we couldn't make it whole, if we couldn't make it right, they wanted special legislation. And that's why I went to Representative Robbins and asked and advocated for that, and why we had the meeting on Friday. And while I appreciate that there is a risk to us as residents, that if this fund falls below 90%, we're responsible. Well, these men and women put their lives on the line every day, whether the roads were bad, leaving their family outings, and they were told they would get paid an amount for a year of service. That is our job to keep our word. And I think we owe that to them. I think they've had the opportunity to speak at the last Relief Association. As I already made a point to the last motion, this will only happen after direction at the Relief Association, where all of the firefighters will have an opportunity to speak and the majority will rule. I think it is the right thing to do. I think it is equitable, and I will be voting in favor of it for those reasons. Any further discussions or comments before I call for a vote? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
The motion carries 3-1. Next item of business this evening is Resolution 2025-1215-05, accepting the 2026 Industrial Street Project Feasibility Report, and I will turn that over to our engineer, Mr. Baumann.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Matt Baumann, Assistant City Engineer and Project Manager. Kevin, if you can go to page 400, I think it was, for the presentation. So we had two studies tonight presenting. The first one is the Industrial Street Improvements Feasibility Study, and the impetus for this project is that it is ready for a mill and overlay rehabilitation of the street, and that is scheduled to occur about once every 20 years, and then we could get about a 60-year lifespan out of the street itself. And then another piece of this is to replace the east block of the water main, which is 1965 vintage cast iron pipe, which is subject to breakage, and it's a little bit smaller than would be ideal for that portion of town as well. And so on October 27th, you guys authorized the feasibility study, and so I'll present some of the findings here. Go to the next slide, Kevin. Yeah, so I mentioned some of the information that we gathered. The east block of the roadway was built in 1965 and then extended in 1989. The water main under the 1989 portion is ductile iron pipe and 8-inch pipe over there. And as I mentioned already, we'll be looking at the mill and overlay process here and recommend upsizing that pipe. We go to the next one. So based on the city's policy, the assessment methodology is assess between 20 and 50% of assessment of assessable items. Mill and overlay per city code is not assessable, so the only piece that would be is the water main improvements along this piece. And so the city would cover the non-assessable pieces, mill and overlay, minor curb and drainage repairs, and then the non-assessable frontage, which I'll get to later in one of the maps here. Next one, Kevin. So there is a kind of an overview of the street project itself. We can go to the next one. And we can jump, so I'll just touch on the process for improving the water main. We're proposing that we do this by a pipe bursting method, and that it's going to reduce the disruption to the traffic. And so we, as a mill and overlay, we can leave 90% of the street alone, and with the heavy large traffic in that neighborhood, that'll be very beneficial to large trucks and all of the boats and everything that's going back in and out through there. So that's why we'd recommend this method for replacing that pipe, whether we were doing a full street replacement or not, that it's just far less disruptive and able to keep businesses moving there. We'll go to the next one. And so you can see here, there's the assessment methodology is to assess those directly served by the main itself, and so that there's only 2 properties on this piece of the project. And so I'll get to that a little bit more in the next slide, but the large one to the north and then the smaller one to the south, we propose to assess those by the abutting front footage, and then the city picks up the rest of the footage for those other, you see 3 properties that aren't directly served off of this main. All right, now I can go to the next piece there. So cost apportionment summary, you can see there the different pieces, assessments, roughly 100,000. That's the 35% of the water main that can be assessed. The city would cover just under 49,000 of that. The street work itself is 145,000. The remainder of the water main is 186 for a total of 430. Then just a little bit, that similar breakdown there for a total city cost of 380,000. And then you go to the next one, Kevin. Yep. And then so the breakdown of the assessment summary, water breaks down to 66.71 per front foot. Assessed to those properties is 51,900, and then the city again covers almost half of that cost with picking up the other front footages. And then that water front footage cost is closer to what we was assessed in previous projects. They were done by the unit, but doing it by the unit here broke it out to where since there was only 2 properties being served, then they covered all of that $100,000. So this is a more economical break, or more, I can't find the right word, but more fair breakdown for them. Go to the next one, Kevin. All right, and so from an engineering standpoint, the improvements are feasible, cost-effective, and necessary to maintain city infrastructure. And so water main improvements can be made using practical construction processes. And I'll try to summarize and go quickly here, because I know there's a lot on the agenda. So this schedule you'll see again twice. This is very similar to the next one that you'll see as well. So next week we'd work with the city, or next week and the week after we'd work with the city to get the notices mailed for the improvement hearing, which we propose to be on January 20th. Then in between there, the notices will post in the advertised newspaper, which is the Laker. We'll host an open house meeting with the affected properties here on January 6th. Then the improvement hearing, and then January 26th, so the following Monday, we'd close the improvement hearing, and then council would consider a resolution to order the improvements. Roughly March, we'd be looking to authorize bids. bid and award in April, and then begin construction as early as May, and then final assessment hearing in the fall of next year. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Baumann? All right, looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2025-1215-05, accepting the 2026 Industrial Street Project Feasibility Report.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Reviso,
I'll second that motion.
second by Burek. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it 4-0. Next item of business this evening is Resolution 2025-1215-06, accepting the 2026 Downtown Project Feasibility Study. I'll turn that back over.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. So similar process, but a little bit different project here. So we have the downtown street reconstruction project, as we're going to call it. Just helps me differentiate between the different pieces going on here. Again, on October 27th, the authorized preparation of the feasibility study to analyze improvements for the following streets, and you can stay there, Kevin, actually. Yep, give you a second. Good. All right. So for the following streets, we analyzed Main Street East, Pioneer Avenue, Delano Avenue, Maple Avenue, Marsh Avenue, and Spring Avenue, and then also the fire station parking lot on the west side of that map. We analyzed all existing infrastructure elements within the project area of it, and as part of the report, and proposed improvements, itemized cost estimates, and cost apportionments, preliminary assessment roll. Got that. Yep. It's always fun. All right, Kevin, if you want to jump to slide 440, I think, or page 440 in the packet there. So the need for further improvements is based on the limited as-built information. What we could find is some of the streets were originally constructed in the 1930s, maybe even sooner than that. The water main, the best guess I have is a lot of it was constructed in the 1930s. And then some as late as the 60s on some of the other streets. As you're aware of the area, the pavements are in a very deteriorated state, and traditional maintenance activities are no longer cost effective. Mill and overlay would not work for any of these streets. And then Pioneer Avenue is an undersized street. Several of the streets don't have curb and gutter, so Pioneer Avenue, portion of Main Street East on the west side, and then Delano Avenue don't have any curb and gutter to kind of define the roadway. And then due to corrosive soils, water mains are subject to breaks. Sanitary sewers is a vitrified clay pipe, which is subject to lots of inflow and infiltration. And all right, so we can go to the next slide, Kevin. So you guys saw the map here again. That just reinforces the streets there. So the two green ones, I'll get to those in a second. Those we actually are recommending a mill and overlay. But the rest of that, we're looking for a full reconstruction. So next slide, Kevin. So the different pieces, so full reconstruction for all of the streets besides Marsh Avenue and Spring Avenue, and the reason we're recommending that is Marsh and Spring are in a pretty good state. There's fairly new curb and gutter that's in good shape as well. And don't remember which one off the top of my head here. Go to the map. Marsh Avenue itself doesn't even have a water main underneath it, so we're recommending that those two are mill and overlaid. The rest of them, as I mentioned before, would be full reconstruction. Make sure I'm on the right slide here. Sanitary sewer and water main will be replaced. The water main we would actually loop up to Pioneer. There's a piece I'll show you on one of the slides in the future coming up where it doesn't come all the way around, so that will help any future development or anybody looking to make changes there. And then also improve fire flows and reliability. We'll replace and add a lot of storm sewer to the project. Part of that is to coordinate with the downtown redevelopment. Be doing some stormwater quality treatment, which will be likely to the west of the Public Works and water treatment plant building over there. And then I mentioned already replacing and adding curb, and we'll also look to replace and add sidewalk, so we'll connect to the existing trail over on Pioneer Avenue with some of the sidewalk that does exist now on the west side of Main Street. There'll be some streetscaping around the development, which we're working with Mark and the developer on there. Also adding lighting. The lighting will be around the downtown redevelopment block, but that will also coincide with where the sidewalk goes, so they'll be lighted all the way up to the trail on Pioneer Avenue. And then we'll also look to bury power around the development there. So I will skip over most of this except for one thing that we did add into that was to remove the Bud Avenue portion between Main Street East and Highway 12, and that has been in the comp plans and many of the studies for a long time to reduce some of that crash risk, and so that will force traffic to use better visibility intersections. So we added that in here based on some feedback at the last workshop, and then we're gonna be modifying the streets so they vary quite a bit right now. So we're gonna get to more standard driving lanes and parking lanes, and I'll show that on the next map here. We can go to that one now. So you can see the yellow is, and I haven't mentioned that today yet, the yellow is actually what we were considering for the local road improvement program grant, which was submitted on Friday. So that would potentially get up to $1.5 million back for that. But it's a pretty competitive process, so we'll cross our fingers and hopefully we got a good application in there. The two orange streets are the ones I mentioned. Those are Mill and Overlay. Delano Avenue will be a full reconstruction, but we didn't consider that to be one of the candidates for the local road improvement piece. The green on the far right, it would be the removal of Bud Avenue. We'll have to work that out more in final design, exactly what that looks like, but its costs were accounted for in the study here. The dashed lines are is where we recommend parallel parking, and so much of it will be the same as what exists now, but we will be changing portions of Main Street East. Right now, we're recommending that most of Main Street East just have parallel parking on the south side, and then the north side will be no parking for now. And then with the blue, if you can see it in there, that's where the sidewalk would be. So I think right now it ends at, I can't read the streets there. I think it ends at Marsh Avenue right now, and so we'll be adding about 3 blocks of sidewalk to get up to the trail and Pioneer on the west side there. Again, the purple is the fire station parking lot improvements. And then you guys can see the dark piece on the far right, that's the proposed downtown redevelopment block that we're trying to coordinate all this work with too. And coordinate some diagonal parking that'll be placed around that building there. All right, I think we can go to the next slide. So reiterating, so the city's assessment policy is 20 to 50% of assessable pieces can be assessed based on past practice. We're recommending 35% of the street and storm sewer. We're gonna recommend that be done on an adjusted front footage basis, and then the utilities are assessed on a unit basis. Only properties served by the utilities are assessed for those. I'll go over those pieces in a little bit more detail in the next maps. The city is going to pay for the non-assessable frontage project elements, and this is consistent with past projects. So Jacob and I dug through some of the previous feasibility studies for some of the more nuanced pieces. Marsh Avenue, Mill and Overlay again is not assessed. We're not recommending assessment for the sidewalks or for lighting. That's similar to what was done on the 2016 Bud Avenue project. We're not recommending assessment of the bearing of the overhead power on Maple and Main Street. The fire station parking lot, just because that's private improvements, is not part of the assessable portion. And then Bud Avenue removal, we're not recommending assessment there because it's not necessarily a street improvement. It's a reduction. All right, next one. So there's the map again. Just touch on, so the properties abutting the green only streets are not being assessed for any street frontage. Might be hard for you guys to see, but the couple properties, they're numbered 31, 32, and 33 in our preliminary roll, those are not gonna be assessed on front footage itself. They're assessed based on the midpoint distance of the property, just because they have a lot of frontage in a very small area, and that's based on city policy. We made that adjustment there. And then any of the rest of the corner lots that are fully abutting to the fully reconstructed street, the longest piece of the lot is assessed at 100%, and then the shorter side is assessed at 50%, based on city policy. And you go to the next one, Kevin. So then the water main, you can see anybody that is directly served directly served and has a service will be assessed. The one difference here is that the development lot, we're recommending that be assessed based on the SAC units, and so that comes to 71, I believe, based on the number of apartments that'll be in there. And so that really kind of distributes a lot of the cost to that lot, because there's gonna be so many users in that building. And then similar on the next one, Kevin, is the sanitary sewer. So again, directly abutting properties will be assessed, and then a big portion of that goes to the development property. And then the last map is just kind of showing mainly all that storm sewer on the south side on Main Street. There's very little storm sewer that exists there now, and so that'll be the big add to this project, is to gather the storm there, get it from the development, and that'll go all the way down to the public works and water treatment plant lot. Last map here is just kind of a highlight of the proposed lighting. We'll have to work through that a little bit more in final design, but the purple dots are the added lights that we'll be looking at. And then the next few slides, I'll go over pretty high level. There's a lot of numbers in here. The big piece of this is the estimated total cost with all of the items together is about 5.9 million estimated now. The assessment piece is 1.67 million, and the city is going to cover roughly half of that. I'll go over those breakdowns here in the next couple. And then the streets, storm sewer, water, sanitary sewer, all those pieces would be covered by the city. Go to the next one, Kevin. So those are there's the breakdown of all of the city directly funded pieces of the project. We can jump to the next one too, just so I don't bore you guys with all the numbers. Assessment summary, so street and storm sewer, again, that's based on the adjusted front footage, so that breaks down to $226 per foot. Sanitary sewer is $1,814 per unit, and the water main is $2,700 per unit. And so the sanitary and water, compared to like the 2024 project, are gonna be lower per unit just because of that SAC takes a much bigger chunk of the project there. Go to the next one. So then the assessment type, so the city, by the non-assessable front footage, so there's a big chunk of the railroad that normally there'd be homes there, and that they would share in the cost of this. So to be fair, we took that and converted it to 10.4 units, and then the front footage that of all of the corner lots, we converted that to the city as well, so that they roughly cover almost $400,000 of the assessment there. Development lot with the street and then the water main, or the street and the utilities pieces, is a little over $400,000. The city and the fire station lot is only street frontage, no utilities, so that comes to $74,000. And then the average unit with water and sewer for the businesses and properties is $26,000, a little over $26,000 estimated. Then the next one just breaks down the non-assessed pieces of the project, so mill and overlay, the lighting and power, the sidewalk addition in Budd Avenue. The Budd Avenue removal is not all that expensive, but we gotta work through some of the details and figure out where and how we still provide access to the library and to the other abutting property if we need to. And the fire station lot, as I mentioned as well. And that, I'll wrap it up with that. Actually, let's go to we can go to the last one with the schedule. So this is all the same. The only change is that, assume this is gonna take at least a month longer for us to get to bid authorization, so that's roughly gonna be April, open and award bids in May, and then hopefully begin construction in June with the, again, a fall final assessment hearing. So, all right, that was a lot. I'll stand for any questions.
Questions for Mr. Baumann? All right, looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2025-1215-06, accepting the 2026 Downtown Project Feasibility Study Report.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Burek,
I'll second.
second by Reviso. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 4-0. Next item of business is Resolution 2025-1215-07, North Shore Gymnastics Site Plan Review, Preliminary Plot, and Final Plot. And I'll turn that over to our planner, Mr. Cultus.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council. Before you tonight is several applications for a new recreational facilities development in the city's industrial park located on the properties that are currently 5380 and 5480 Pioneer Creek Drive. North Shore Gymnastics, a longtime business in the city of Maple Plain, has been looking for some time for a site to construct their own owner-occupied structure. And they have put together two properties that had historically been used for the Proto Labs overflow parking. They're asking the city to consider allowing the preliminary and final plat to replat those two properties such that they would break off a parcel that would accommodate their new recreational facility and then leave an outlot that has a portion of the existing parking that's still associated with the Proto Labs site. Along with that, they're asking for site plan review for the new commercial building. So the application has gone before the Planning Commission on two different occasions. The applicant originally went before the Planning Commission earlier this year in September, and then most recently went to the Planning Commission earlier this month after the applicant had or was really needed to make some revisions to the type of building that they would be proposing to construct on the property. And so with that, it's been considered twice by the Planning Commission. The proposed building would sit on that new property that I described. It would be approximately 40,000 square feet in overall size. It would have a new parking area that would wrap around the west and north sides of the building to accommodate the parking that would be required for the facility. With that, city did a full review. Planning Commission discussed the review at several of the meetings, as I mentioned, and ultimately it came down to just a few comments that were made at the last Planning Commission associated with landscaping in the front of the building. And the Planning Commission had a lengthy discussion on looking at kind of all of the various aspects of the site layout, sidewalks, landscaping, lighting, and everything else associated. The Planning Commission had also discussed then building design. The original building that was being proposed by the applicant was a concrete tip-up building, and the applicant is now proposing a steel panel building in an attempt to try to come in at a cost that is something that they can obtain. And so with that, Planning Commission thought the design was still in keeping with surrounding buildings in the industrial park, noting that we don't have a specific architectural standard associated with our I industrial zoning district, and ultimately then recommended approval to the city council for the facility that's being proposed. And I don't know, Kevin, there is a building elevation and then site plan that was in the packet along with all the comments and resolution. See if we can get to. Yeah, any of those site plans would be fine for just kind of showing the overall. we go. So as I noted in the site plan, just there's a connection to Pioneer Creek that's going to be in the existing location of the current driveway connection that serves that parking lot. So that connection stays the same. The landscaping that's currently located along Pioneer Creek between the road and the building, for the most part, they're going to maintain that existing landscaping that's in place. In order to get this building to work, they have to cut the building down. So the property that's just due east of this property sits much higher. There's going to be a hill that kind of goes down to the east side of this building to really try to fit that building in there. And so that building's going to sit almost 15 feet lower than the adjacent property or properties, because there's two properties to the east. And then they have a driveway that comes in off of Pioneer Creek. It's going to have parking on either side. They'll have an access point leading to the front entrance of the building. And then there will be a turnaround as well as a kind of back door, back of house area for refuse and things like that in the back of the building. There'll be a sidewalk connection to Pioneer Creek, which will allow overflow parking. It will allow bus drop-off, things like that, to be able to drop off really at the curb, essentially, and then have a sidewalk going all the way to the front door. And then, Kevin, I don't know if you can grab the elevation. No. Oh, I'm talking building elevation, I'm sorry. It's down. It's way down towards the bottom.
Towards the end.
It is does it tell me what page? What is it? Yeah. Keep going. There it is. So the applicant provided the city with the updated building elevations. You can see that they'll have their logo facing the south side towards Pioneer Creek, and then they'll have the front door facing to the west side with kind of a front entrance door, and then their sign on the front side of that building as well. So I'd be happy to go into as much detail or as needed, or any questions by the council. So with that, I'll yield.
Any questions for our planner? All right, looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2025-1215-07, North Shore Gymnastics Site Plan Review, Preliminary Plot, and the Final Plot.
So moved.
Moved by DeLuca,
I'll second it.
second by Arvizo. Any further discussion or questions? I just want to say thank you to the Planning Commission and, for bringing it here ready for us to go tonight. Appreciate the work and the time everyone's put in this, and to North Shore for continuing to add to our city. We appreciate that. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 4-0. Next item of business is Resolution 2025-1215-08, repealing Resolution 2025-1124-04. And I will turn that over to our administrator.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. In November, we approved setting a public hearing for a TIF district. Unfortunately, due to scheduling, we won't have the necessary people at that meeting, so we would like to reschedule it. That will be the next resolution. So this resolution just nullifies that one.
All right, looking for a motion for Resolution 2025-1215-08, repealing Resolution 2025-1124-04.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Burek,
Second.
second by DeLuca. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, 4-0. Next item of business, Resolution 2025-1215-09, ordering a public hearing for a TIF district.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. This would be setting that public hearing for the TIF district for February 9th, 2026 at 7 p.m.
Looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2025-1215-09, ordering a public hearing for the TIF district.
So moved.
Moved by Arvizo,
Second.
second by DeLuca. Any further discussion or questions?
Are all the people that need to be there going to be available on this one? All right.
Yes.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, 4-0.
You okay?
Next item of business is ordinance 344, amending chapter 4, article 4, mobile food units. I'll turn that over to staff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Honorable Council. The proposed amendments to Chapter 4, Article 4 will modernize how Maple Plain regulates mobile food units. The current ordinance in front of you primarily focuses on vending in public streets and right-of-way, leaving some ambiguity for food truck operations on private property that is open to the public. This amendment in front of you offers some potential changes. One is applicability that will cover both public and private property, registration requirements, and proximity restriction of 300 feet between mobile food units and brick and mortar restaurants. So with that being said, I will stand for questions.
Any questions for our Assistant Administrator? All right, looking for a motion to approve ordinance 344, amending chapter 4, article 4, mobile food units.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Burek,
Second.
second by DeLuca. Any further discussion or questions? Administrator Schillender.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, members of the council, we would also be seeking, with this would be approving ordinance 344 and approving the ordinance summary publication.
Okay, so do we need to do a whole new motion and second then, because that's different than what we had?
Yes, you should.
All right, so looking for a motion to approve ordinance 344, amending chapter 4, article 4, and the summary publication.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by,
I'll second it.
moved by Burek, second by DeLuca. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, 4-0. Next item of business is our ordinance 345-2026 fee schedule, and I will turn that back over to staff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. We've worked hard this year at going through the fee schedule, finding areas in code that reference the fee schedule, but we didn't have a fee for it. So we've made some updates, moved things around, and then added a general fee, permit fee. So if we've missed something, that fee would apply. We will update the utility rates and enterprise funds here coming in January is when we will look at those budgets, and then we will update this ordinance accordingly at the by the end of the first quarter of 2026. With that, I'll stand for any questions. Otherwise, I am looking for approving ordinance 345, the 2026 fee schedule, and the ordinance summary publication.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Avizo,
Second.
second by Councilmember DeLuca. Any further discussion or questions? Approving the ordinance and the summary? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 4-0. Next item of business before us is ordinance 346, repealing the cannabis ordinance 331 and ordinance 347, establishing a new cannabis registration. Turn that back over to staff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. With the new law going into effect regarding THC and cannabis January 1st, this is repealing the ordinance that we currently have, as it does not meet state law as of January 1st. The new ordinance is putting in a business registration language that requires businesses to register their cannabis businesses with the city. I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions for staff? All right, hearing none, looking for a motion to approve ordinance 346, repealing cannabis ordinance 331 and ordinance 347, establishing a new cannabis registration.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Arvizo,
Second.
second by DeLuca. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 4-0. Next item of business this evening is ordinance 348, the amended rental ordinance, and I will turn that back over to our administrator.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Ordinance 348 is coming before you to strengthen our rental ordinance. It offers a section for safe rental housing. With recent events that happened in Maple Plain, kind of sparked looking at code. We didn't have anything specifically in code that addressed the complaints from the residents. This really spells out what is considered a safe housing unit and gives the city more teeth, if you will, as far as enforcing or revoking or suspending a rental license when they have tenants that commit these crimes. I was asked by a resident earlier today why we just don't put it in there that if they do it, they have to be out. And unfortunately, you know, I understand that, but we also have to give the landlord and the tenant due process. And that has been spelled out in this language with basically a 3 strikes, you're out. There's steps for each of the 3 steps spelled out in this ordinance. So I ask council to approve this ordinance and the summary publication.
All right, looking for a motion to approve ordinance 348, the amended rental ordinance and summary publication.
Moved. So moved.
Moved by Arvizo,
Second.
second by DeLuca. Any further discussion or questions? I just want to thank staff and the attorney and the residents and the law enforcement just for the collaboration and just working to have clear direction and things documented in our ordinances and updating this. Any other discussion or questions? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 4-0. Last item this evening is council reports and other business. Who'd like to kick us off? Councilmember Burek?
I guess I'll start. Well, with, workshop and business meeting and such a quick turnaround, kind of gives you a new perspective of getting government work done quickly. But I do want to say, over the last year, this has been a great change for the city that has come through. We have new businesses, new fire services being taken on. And I want to thank the staff for what they've done for the rental ordinance, dealing with the residents, dealing with the businesses, and dealing with council. I want to say thank you for your time and thank you for your service. And also to the first responders that we will be losing here at the end of the month, no longer being the managing city. Thank you for the service, and I really hope that this partnership moves forward to excel Maple Plain to new heights.
Thank you,
That'll be
Thank you, Councilmember Burek. Councilmember Arvizo?
Thanks. I'd like to echo what Councilor Burek has said, and thank you for saying all of that. I'd like to say that also, just out of public service, maybe more personal thing too as well, is that, the winter season is upon us. Please be sparing on the amount of salt you put on your driveways and such, because remember, we are part of a watershed. Anything we put onto any excess salt that's not being used, it's going to go right into the watershed and affect our wildlife, our aquatic life. So please be judicious and sparing when using your road salt. So that's just my public service announcement to you all, or my plea, I suppose, as someone that's the Watershed Commission. There is no commission this month. They had canceled it due to, I don't know why, December, I guess. And then we had a nice time at Chamber of Commerce with our annual potluck, and a nice fun game led by our mayor here. I cannot talk tonight as always, but that's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Arvizo. Councilmember DeLuca.
And it seems like we were just here, and then I realized I was just here, then I went on vacation and just came back. So, but this has been an interesting month of wrap-ups, and staff has done a wonderful job of putting together a lot of these new ordinances that we've seen. They seem cumbersome, but there's purpose to ordinances that we have. Had the chance to spend some time working behind the scenes on Jacob's performance review, and many of you in the audience were asked to provide feedback to that. And the council will be meeting with Jacob tomorrow to do the year-end review. I can say that it has been a very full year in this year, probably one of the busiest years in the time I've spent on this council. And however each of you celebrate this time of the year, it reminds me that this is a time to be thankful. You know, and as I've talked to people, what are we generally thankful for? Our friends, our neighbors, our family, and our colleagues that we work with, those four things. And this is a good group of people to work with, a wonderful staff. Serving this community for the 14 years that I have has been a joy for me. And I am thankful for all of you and the things that you do for this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember DeLuca. As it's already been alluded, it's only the 15th, but it has been a busy month. We began with our Truth in Taxation hearing. Chief DeRose and I were able to attend the Youth Stabilization Center grand opening down in Hennepin County, and that center is for children and teens ages 8 to 17 years old who have complex mental health and behavior health needs. They will have 13 bedrooms. They will have 4 beds for withdrawal management. Just a huge resource for our county. Administrator Schillender and City Planner Cultus and I were able to meet with our new Hennepin County Administrator, Jody Wentland, and just talk about our downtown and our county roads and our city and our vision for our library, and just again to plan for the future and to collaborate, and just the value in that and working together. At Regional Council of Mayors, we had our Minnesota, our theme was the Minnesota headquarters economy. We had Kurt Zellers, the CEO of Business Partnerships, and he just really emphasized on working with builders and not dividers, and just surrounding yourself with people on your team that are builders and not dividers. And again, that message is just crucial for all of us. We had a police commission meeting, and for any of you familiar with police commission meeting, I am thrilled to share that LMAC records agreement has finally been done. I have learned more about that than I ever thought I needed to know, but it's done, so thank you and great work for that. Talked about staffing, Bluetooth holster sensors, talking about future needs and meeting dates, so continue to provide public safety. Chamber we've already talked about. Christ Lutheran Church had a huge celebration on Saturday, invited us to be there and celebrate. They celebrated their 150th anniversary, and it takes so many different entities to make up our great community, so congratulations to them on their anniversary. I'm sure you haven't noticed or heard, but Quick Trip did open. We are thrilled, and their ribbon cutting will be officially tomorrow at 10 a.m., so we hope to see all of you there if you're available. Rotary's been busy. We heard from Ryan McDonald, who's a Wayzata resident, whose children attended Orno, and he started Duke Cannon and really talked about building a business from brick by brick, and just very inspirational talk, and literally started in his garage. We also adopted some seniors at Haven Homes and wrapped gifts for them. I'm kind of biased. I've lived in this community since I was 5, but View Santa is by far one of my favorite city events. And it was absolutely beautiful again this year with the weather and all the people and community, the museum serving cookies, the different cities working together. Again, just true community. And in addition to that, we all really stepped up, and 1,400 pounds of food was donated, and $800 in cash was donated to the West Tonka Community Food Shelf, which comes directly back to our residents in Maple Plain and Independence. So, and a fun little add-on this year was Santa Tracker. So that was really cool to watch Santa on your phone. He made it up to 13 miles an hour on his sleigh. So that was really cool. So thank you to everyone who made that happen. The fire consolidation has been years in the making, and it's been lots of meetings and phone calls and emails and conversations, and super excited to be closing the door on that chapter. This week will continue to be a busy week. We have Jacob's Review, we have a big, tomorrow, we have the joint meeting celebration in Independence. I have Arno Healthy Youth, we have Fire Relief, we have Rotary, just lots going on. And really just want to echo what everyone's already set up here, since this is our last meeting for the year. Just a thank you to everyone that just keeps the city functioning, and from the residents to the staff, to the team, to our public safety, and really looking forward to 2026. And I know I say it all the time and you guys get sick of it, but together we are better. And even if we don't like each other, we need each other. So it's important to get along and continue to be respectful and model that for our world today. So looking forward to 2026. And with that, do we have any other business to come before us this evening? Hearing none, looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Burek,
I'll second it.
second by Arvizo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting's adjourned at 8:21.